This is what John had to do, Luke 180. He had to leave this amazing place of plenty and go to a place that seemed like a place of lack and struggle to find what plenty really looks like.
Right.
You took that journey. That, I believe, that was the entry point into
Absolutely.
what I'm saying is the wilderness. Hey everybody, I am Michael Bethany, and this is Life in the Wild, the podcast, and I'm so excited again to be here with you guys to have a discussion. This has been amazing to even just be a part of this. I'm your host, and I've been hosting this now from last year. I've been just getting ready to launch this season too. So I'm excited about this season because we've got some special things, some new guests, and even just talking about life in the wild. Every time we fire up the cameras and start talking, it inspires me because this is a personal journey. The Life in the Wild discussion is an ongoing conversation for anybody who wants to join in. But it's also a curated conversation for creatives, artists, worship leaders, and influencers, people that are carrying something that is different. And when you carry something that's different, you need a different message. You need someone to speak to that, someone to release you and to speak life into where you are, and someone who speaks your language. That's what we're doing. We're speaking your language, life in the wild. So I want to say this before we even go another further. Would you like, share, and subscribe so that we can get other folks connected? We are a team in this, and as we're creating the content, curating these conversations, I just think it's a partnership. So as you guys are finding value in what we're talking about and how God is using it to be a blessing to you, share this with somebody else. Today I have some special guests, some friends who could get me in trouble. No, this is real. These are some folks I've been knowing almost since the very, within 3 months of me moving to Texas in 2005, December, I met these folks. And we've been rolling ever since. As a matter of fact, we decided we liked each other so much, we would live close to each other. They live like 5 minutes from my house, and I have running, jogging through the neighborhood, just running to their house. What's going on? How y'all doing? We talk, and we've had a lot of fellowship. So they've got a lot of insight. And what's unique about this couple is they saw me in my development. They saw me when I was green as you could be, and they saw me grow. And you don't find many people who are in your same creative space that stick around long enough to see the product of what God has been building and then be a part of it with you. So that's what I'm excited about. Would you guys give it up for my friends, Darius and Laneshia?
What's up?
Wow.
Man, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
I feel like a real podcaster with the introductions.
This is one. Yeah, you're an expert at this.
Because I get to have people like you on here, and we've stepped it up. We got 3 people on at one time. I'm going for 4 because I've got some stuff I want to talk about. But today, the reason I invited you guys to be on with me is because, like I said, y'all know me. Yeah. We've been rocking for a long time. And y'all know the different stages, at least from the time we met to where we are today. But you guys are also creatives. Like you're both musicians. You're both producers. You're both songwriters. You both span the gospel to the R&B to the soul, all the different styles of music. You both are ministry people, vocationally, and even in the professional side. So there's a lot you guys can share. But what y'all been telling me that has been amazing to me, text messages and just little comments that you've been really watching this Life in the Wild thing, and it struck a chord with y'all.
Absolutely.
Let me just pitch the ball over there to you guys and let y'all share, first of all, whatever you want to share about our relationship, hanging out, being here today, but also we're going to dig into what you guys have been hearing and what you guys have been feeling behind what we've been sharing with this podcast. I'm gonna start with the homie Darius.
Yes, please.
We call him D Nice.
D Nice.
Yes.
We call him D Nice because I met Darius first.
Yep.
quiet Darius,
Yep.
Yeah,
diligent
yeah.
Darius.
Yep.
You like that?
I like
Very
that.
meek.
I like yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Meek and mild.
Meek and mild. Humble servant of the Most High God.
Yeah, so Darius, holla at me. What's on your heart, brother? How you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. And you know, you said it. We did meet first. You met me before I even met my wife.
Yes, I remember. I wasn't there when you met her, but
Right.
I was around.
You was around.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
I got
were
to
around.
hear. You know.
Right. But
Oh, I
was-
need to know.
Oh, what was I heard it was brewing.
That's
Okay.
good.
yeah.
I need to hear from your perspective. So,
Me too.
But caveat, like we moved to Texas the very same year.
Yeah.
I came officially moved the day after Thanksgiving in 2005.
We were there within the same month.
Yeah,
I moved on the 1st of December.
yeah. So same time, but we didn't meet until 2006 when we were
Working
getting
on
ready
record,
for the
Free
to
to
Worship
Worship,
taping at the Potter's house. And man, I remember when you came on, we were like, man, who is this guy, man? Because you were kind of like the last one that had
I
it
was
too.
absolutely the last guy.
Yeah, and that was a big
Wow.
group. Like, far as vocalists
How many
go,
guys was it before I got there?
It was like
AG, Frank, Charles,
Davey.
and Dobson was there, but I think he ended up not singing.
Right. And then you came on because I think we had met your brother first.
Yep.
At Daystar.
Yep.
And shout
And
out
I was
to
there
Chuck.
that night.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, wow.
That's right. But I remember you started to come around, you singing. You told the story on this pod, about when you basically auditioned for Fred, and
Were you down there? Or were you upstairs working?
I was there. I can't remember where I was, but I was definitely there. And you were right before. I remember you said something about Fred has this boss thing,
Yes.
the mafia.
The mafia.
For real.
The lights was out.
That's-
Sounds like no lights, so it's nighttime.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be
but
caught.
so you weren't the only person.
Fred, we're gonna have you on here because I need you
Please.
to tell your own story. Explain.
Exactly.
While the lights was off. And you
But
felt
it was
like-
dope though.
Exactly.
What's up, folks? So, Overflow Live, my goodness, that album was a blessing to me, and I believe it's been a blessing to a lot of folks. I hope you've been blessed by the album, and I want to show y'all something we got here. This right here is this is my first piece of apparel merch, and it's the Overflow Live album T-shirt, and on the back you can see it has all the songs kind of assorted on the shirt. So listen, we got merch, y'all. We have merch officially, and a whole lot more coming, and I can't wait to release it. I want you guys to not only sing about it, but I want you to be about it. Get you some of this merch. Holla at your boy. There's a link below. You guys can get whatever you want. No, you can't. You can just get this. That's all I got. Peace.
Ironically, though, my wife and I met under similar circumstances at Fred's house studio for an audition, which she was reluctantly didn't want to come. But she did. She came with a friend of hers, and that's how we met at the studio. And I was smitten.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
You sound like you know some
You know
stuff
what?
that I haven't heard.
Now that you mention it, I was there.
You had to
I
be
was
there.
in
You were
the
there.
Oh, I was absolutely in the
You
building.
were there. You were in the building, Mike. B.
But at that moment, that wasn't the moment.
Mm-hmm.
You met, but it wasn't until later because I didn't know y'all had connected
Right.
till much later. Not much later. It was
Right.
not that long actually. But I do recall we spent a lot of hours in the studio.
Yeah.
I do recall you like, man,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, dude, like this girl, man, like
This is interesting.
oh, really? Yeah. Go ahead. Nice.
Yeah.
Derek, D Nice. Like I said, D Nice was like, I didn't know you had it in you. Derek's like, you okay?
Look.
Okay.
That's funny.
Look, she
to
brought
me.
it out of me.
Oh, yes, she did.
We gonna get into it, but you talk about somebody when you're not really developed and ready for stuff.
Yeah.
I felt I was like, I made a decision that I wanted to be a husband, and it really, when I saw her, I was like, okay, I'm done. That's
it.
That's it. So, yeah, man, I love that we've have so much shared history. We've, like you said, we've known you for a long time, and man, we're excited about what God is doing for you. But I want to let my wife.
You said, look at you, the bishop. I'm gonna have my lovely wife.
We are not going to do
words.
that.
I'm gonna have my
That's
wife.
what we're not going to do on this
I'm gonna
episode.
let her stand up, baby. We'll just
Right.
stand.
But that drives
look
me
good.
nuts. No disrespect to anybody, but it really does. You know, I'm going to keep it real. You should have never asked me to come sit on this open
Well,
mic.
no, this was all intentional. I want all of that.
Right.
So Laneshia,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Man, that's your question to answer.
You're here,
Man.
and you know why I asked you to be here. We've already had our pre-conversation.
Yes. When I got here, yes.
So let me see. How do we want to start this? Let's just start this, Laneshia. Let's talk about you meeting the Darius back
Okay.
in the day. Let's just start. Keep
wanna
with the
start
story.
there?
You meeting Darius
Sure.
and us all colliding in the
Merging.
studio.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, thanks for having us here. You know, I give Mike a hard time because I can. Because he knows he can give me a hard time. It's
No, you enjoy this. This is
Yeah.
we have a mutual
Yes.
you know, I'm like, Mike, what are you setting us up for? But you know that you can do that because that's our relationship.
Listen, she's giving me all this kind of grief, but she's enjoying it.
Well,
Right.
because I'm going to give it back. That's
Oh.
why I'm definitely
That's gonna make this a great.
putting it in the bank.
We going an hour and a half. Okay?
Listen.
90 minutes.
Well, it's funny because as y'all were talking, you know, life feels really fast, and especially 17 years ago, right?
So you started counting. I wasn't doing the math.
No, I just know it's like approximately 17 years ago.
Right, yeah.
Don't ask me for any other numbers because that is just as smart as that's going to happen right now. But I do remember the day because I was contacted by somebody that was in the group that had asked me to come to do the audition. And I said no, because that just wasn't my thing. And then she called me the next day. I said no, because this wasn't my thing. And so no disrespect against anybody. I mean, I was honored to be asked, you know. And so I ended up saying yes. And I went, and you were on the piano because you were running the auditions.
See, I don't even remember that.
Let me tell you why I will never forget.
I'm in the wrong seat.
See, you was looking at the wrong stuff.
I
No.
was distracted.
What do you mean you were in the wrong
I don't know what you about to say. This is another life.
You're
okay?
the one that
Right.
said,
Was I kind?
if you wasn't, I would have told you.
Okay.
Okay.
See?
All right.
I had
There we
one
go.
of those.
Yeah.
I was growing.
But really, you've always been very nice. Like, for real. Just a genuinely nice person. And so I lost my voice that day. I mean, to the point that I sounded like, I got it, you know, and I'm trying to sing. And I want to say the song that I was singing was What God Has for Me. God has for me, you know. And it was like, what God? And I was like, yeah. So I'm sitting with
And I had never met you.
you had no context. You didn't know what was going on. So I'm like, what God? You know, I'm trying to sing and trying to get some type of vocal tone to come out, right? And you were probably looking like that because I wasn't seeing your face because you were at the piano. I'm kind of behind you. Fred is over here. Fred Hammond, y'all. Fred Hammond.
Fred Hammond.
Okay?
Right.
The
The OG Frederick.
Dread Fred Hammond.
Dread Fred.
Locks.
Detroit, Fred, D-Town. Okay. So I was like, yeah, so all right. That was great. And I had a friend with me, Ilya Golden. And it turned out to be a good time, like a fellowship. And it was funny. Another thing I won't forget about that moment was hearing This Is the Day for the first time because the record hadn't really come out yet.
Yeah.
And when Darius was, you know, running engineering the sessions and all that stuff, and when he hit go on This Is the Day, I was like, now, you know how you growing up, your mama tell you, now don't get over here and act like you ain't got nothing. That day I didn't know what to do with myself. Because after I heard that, I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
I felt like hearing that song redeemed me being there.
Yes.
I don't know. But anyways, you were really nice. And then we got invited to come back the next day. Y'all were doing a service for, oh my gosh.
Denny Davis.
Denny
right?
Davis. It was like their church anniversary. And we took the tour bus to
At the
the
Nokia,
Nokia
yeah.
Theater. And
Remember that when
it
he came
was
out in that pimp outfit. He was.
Is there
hold on.
Is there a way that I can blink myself up out of here right
no,
now?
no.
But I mean,
Wow.
No, listen.
wait.
It was an
You ain't lying.
wait a minute.
It was Pimbalicious.
It was an illustrated sermon.
No,
Also,
don't
it
try
was
to don't try
it
to
was.
click.
He
Mike.
had like a long. He was doing it. He is very creative.
Mike, you know
And
that
he
I
was-
know you, right?
No, this is true. Like so, everyone knows Pastor Denny Davis had a large following in Dallas. And one of the reasons is because of his preaching, and in Nokia he was filling it up.
He was.
See, and it was crazy because we sang, and he came out with this long mink with a hat. It was
That's
purple,
right.
purple.
See, I don't
That's
remember
right.
that.
Yeah.
And it was
Wow.
all a part of this message series he was doing. So yeah, unforgettable
Man.
moment. Shout out to Denny Davis.
Yeah.
Candace says, I love you, sis.
Oh yeah, Candace. Yeah.
Candace, Dave. Yeah.
And
Reeves. But
That's so funny because I don't remember that because I am a production person. So I'm watching front house. I'm paying attention to what's going on stage. And
Plus, she was smitten. That's why she don't remember.
See, what we're not
You
going to do.
don't take a lot. You don't take a lot when you got that kind of beard.
I'm
what
here,
you do.
guys.
Right.
I'm actually here.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just agreeing.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure
see it
this
all
is a
going
balanced
down.
conversation. All right, because you might have. Do you really mean that? Because
No.
I wasn't.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
of course, I'm being facetious, but
I know.
But I was.
Yeah, put that on you. Don't try to share.
Okay,
that.
so let me ask you this question, Darius. From the moment she auditioned that day, did you know at that point?
I knew the moment I saw her. At least I made the decision that I'm going to do everything in my power to pursue her, and I'm forsaking all others.
And you sure did.
Boy,
Forsook.
I forsook. I did.
he forsook
You forsook us all.
in the King James.
He showed we were forsaken.
Man,
No, this
That's funny to me. That,
I'm not going to tell
Listen.
your testimony, but at some point, forsaken is literal.
you know
Look.
what?
Listen,
I cannot.
seriously, no. It was even some instances where sometimes when you travel a lot, you got some fans in certain places.
I
right?
love how you call it fans. That is so good.
So-
I understand. I grew up in the industry.
So
like
there-
I get it.
yeah. No, there
Fans.
was somebody that I was kind of not really talking
Just
to,
say
but
it.
it was
We've
kind
been
of
married for
entertaining
7
conversations.
yeah.
But
Just-
she blew all that up, and so
Bars.
I had to figure out like how to tell this other person like, I'm sorry, I met somebody, and I don't know. Did you end up saying something to that?
oh,
Are we telling all the things?
hey,
serious, yeah.
okay, let me get back to life in the wild.
No, this is wild
That's
right
wild.
now.
Get back in the wild.
This
It
is,
is wild.
all of this. This
Gotta
is
try to get to
this is life
The point-
because
the
we
point-
wild.
The point of it all.
I'm afraid.
The point of it all
afraid.
is.
Me too.
I knew, to answer your question, I knew like immediately.
You knew
when
immediately.
I saw. So I took a risk, like to put it all out there. Like I want to pursue you for
Yes.
sure.
That's
And this,
hilarious.
so by the time we get to Denny Davis's church, he was in full on pursuit.
And I had no
Absolutely.
idea, to be honest with you. I
Yeah.
was not. I was at a place in my life where I had made up in my mind and in my heart that I was going to be single for the rest of my life. In fact, I changed clothes 3 times prior to coming to Fred's house because I didn't want to look cute. So I put on holy jeans, some flip flops. My hair was really long at the time, and I just threw it in a.
Can I get the
clip.
camera?
Oh God!
When purpose meets.
Oh,
Oh no! See, you can't hide love. I'm sorry, that was the wrong song.
Man,
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like
I was okay. I'm sorry. Continue.
But I did. I was like, I'm focused. I don't need any more distractions in my life, and I just wasn't paying attention to people. Like I wasn't looking at guys. I wasn't. I had blinders on.
Yeah.
It was really like my defense mechanism, and so I was #clueless.
oh, but I was Jordan on that defense.
You know what? See what we're not gonna
See,
do.
I love the energy that Darius.
This
See,
is
so
interesting.
Darius is the guy that's always behind the scenes in production.
Yeah.
He's on percussion. He's a dope percussionist. So we don't always get a chance to hear what he's really thinking.
Get your popcorn because
You behind the mic today.
I am
You know,
kind of nervous.
you
now.
know what's interesting about what you just said? Because I'm behind the scenes, because I'm in the background. I mean, let's be real. A percussionist is not the nucleus of any band. It's really like extra. So in order to be called to do any gig is like
To
they
get
really
called
wanted
in to do percussion,
Right.
you have to really bring value.
right. So I get a chance to really sit back and observe
Yeah.
and not speak and just gain a lot of wisdom that way. So I've learned a lot from just knowing that I'm not the most important part, but still being able to glean and be able to input wisdom where it's needed.
Yeah.
So, you know,
And you added a lot to what we were doing because you weren't just doing perks. You were the main engineer recording all the sessions.
right.
You were production A1 guy involved with the live, with the studio, everything, every session I ever did until
Right.
you forsook us,
That's funny.
forsaking all others.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I had
it
nothing
is
to do with
literal.
that.
You were in all those sessions. So and so I can go into all of those things. I could just keep going on with this, but I do want to get to it.
Let's go.
Let's go.
You guys are creative people, you're worshipers, you're artists, you're in the music industry. And so I did something vulnerable. I did something that I wrestled with. Wrestled.
Wrestle.
You see what I'm saying? That's how you know where I come from. I'm from St. Louis. I need to go back to Dallas. I wrestled with this, but I felt like I want to show one of the chapters I've been working on, just a section or two, so that we can have a discussion about this book I'm working on, Life in the Wild. And the more I talk about it, the more tangible it becomes. Because I can't talk about it and not release it. I can't let anything stop me at this point. I've just finished chapter 7. I'm going to the next chapter tomorrow morning. I'm going to start the next chapter. So it's coming. So I'll let y'all read this because you guys have been tracking with me. Before we get into that, I want you guys to tell me what you heard, because I think you guys represent, which is crazy, not only my tribe creatively, but you know me. So when you hear me, when you first heard me start talking about it, Darius, because we talked, you reached out to me. I think you called me. It's like, yo, I need to talk to you about this Life in the Wild thing you talking about.
Yeah.
I watched the podcast, which was a huge compliment. Because if you got a friend who's known you as long as we've known each other and they watched what you do, that means you haven't totally wrecked your life, because they, you know what I'm saying? Because if I was wilding out and I put something, I was like, man, I'm not trying to hear what that guy's saying. So you listen to it. That was already a big compliment. But what did you hear? Because I talked to you both separately and together y'all both said the same thing. I want to hear from both of y'all. What did y'all hear? I'm going to flip it. Ladies first.
Oh, no.
Ladies first. And I'm going to go to my guy.
Oh, man. Well, first of all, congratulations, because this is not easy. It's not easy to step out and to share what's on your heart and to go in a direction that you feel like God is leading you to go in that doesn't look like anything you've done before. So, you are a friend, and not just a friend, you're a brother. And so I'm going to support. And we were like, oh, gosh, we got to support. I didn't really care what you were talking about. I was going to support you as my brother.
Wow.
And then I listened, and I was like, oh, boy, I need this. I need this. And, being in the spaces that we've been for so long, and in the tribes that we've been part of, and all the information that we have, and all the access and resources we have, it was different. Because sometimes when you get in certain spaces and you are doing life with certain tribes of people, the expectations don't look like where God is calling you to go.
Yeah.
Life in the wild. And I thought, wow, my life is pretty wild. This is definitely something that I need. And I feel like everything that I've heard you share, conversations that you've had, people that are in and out of the conversation, I could find something that would encourage my heart, even if it was just one thing, a line that I needed, which caused me to continue to, well, let me see what else is going on. Because outside of being a friend and a brother or a sister, there's information I need. And maybe there's a word that God has for me in the season where I am right now, which is, we're not going to get into that today because it would take up several hours. But you'll hear me say, man, my life is wild. I say that to some of my friends that I talk to regularly because I am in a place that has seemed unfamiliar, right? Yeah. Got to trust, got to listen, got to obey, got to walk, right? It's a faith walk. You don't always know what the next place looks like, what it sounds like, who's going to meet you there, who's going to be with you. And so I've just been encouraged by watching and listening to your journey because it's needed. And I feel like my that's my opinion, but I feel like I represent a market of people that feel the same thing. If they don't know how to articulate where they are, they don't know how to ask for what they need, and they don't know how to do it knowing that they can be encouraged that this season looks different from the last one and it is okay.
Yeah.
You're still called. You're still chosen. You still have your light. God is with you. He said he would never leave. He's with you. And he's alongside you in this journey. So that's what I see coming from you. And I'm like, ooh, I need that.
Is there a marked difference between how you have known me and how I've shown up and then this particular season?
The two words come to me when you ask the question, bold and courageous. Mm-hmm. Bold and courageous. We were joking and laughing because we do that a lot. We love to laugh. I mean, just independent of each other, right? But you've always been a very, very kind person. Like a genuinely, authentically kind person at your core. I've never seen you mean. I've never seen you make people feel uncomfortable. In fact, people are gathered around you laughing about something because we're having a good time. Mm-hmm. So I'm not surprised by this. I'm amazed by it, but not surprised. And I am enjoying watching you be bold and courageous because we don't know what tomorrow looks like.
That's right.
That's just my 2.5 cents.
We're not going to do crying 2 episodes in a row. We're not even 30 minutes in. We got to take our time.
Yeah.
Darius, we had a conversation and you said something to me that when we unpack what life in the wild is and what the wilderness is the location of organic growth.
Yes, love that.
It is matching the calling that God has revealed to you to an environment that cultivates it. Mm-hmm. It's also described as a place that is untouched, untampered, and unencumbered by human assistance. So it's not a place where you need to help God out. Mm-hmm. It's a place where God puts you, where everything that grows there grows based on what he intends, even if it makes you uncomfortable, even if it feels like this is not what I signed up for. It's exactly what he signed you up for. Mm-hmm. And it's the place where things are fruitful. I took a trip to Israel not long ago, and I recall going to the Judean desert and wilderness and seeing En-Gedi. Mm-hmm. En-Gedi is this place, it's this oasis in the middle of the desert. It's lush, it's green, it's water and streams and water flowing literally from the top of Israel all the way down, and it's hitting these streams and it's flowing down the Jordan, it's flowing down to the Dead Sea. And that water hits En-Gedi, and it's cold and it's fresh. As a matter of fact, I'm there and I'm actually doing a message about David running from Saul into En-Gedi in the wilderness. All these kids disrupt my sermon and jump in the spring, just in the middle. That is what it's like, but it's in the wilderness. Mm-hmm. So things do grow there. Yeah. They don't grow where you want them to, but they grow the way God intended them to. And even you will grow there.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what I was communicating. And you heard, I think I probably communicated a little more clearly now, even then. But you said something to me. You said, Michael, you put language to something
Yeah.
that I already had context for.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
Yeah. Man, it was the very first episode. And you're watching, I'm trying to go back specifically what you said, but like you said, I felt like something resonated in me that I didn't know how to express. And I think it's the just the overall, I felt like I was grabbing hold of the responsibility to be that integrous person that God wants me to be. Not that I wasn't walking in integrity, but actually like being about what God is trying to instill in me.
Yeah.
Like character for me is huge. And a lot of times, you know, we get in these platforms and we are celebrated because we're on platforms, and then you find yourself doing things or living a certain way that is contrary to what you're actually
Yes, presenting. Yeah, for sure.
and I know what that's like. You know, I know how it is to be on a platform and thinking about something else that has nothing to do with what I'm presenting. And you know, walking through like the wilderness and allowing God to put you in a place of growth. It doesn't feel good, but it's what you need.
Yeah.
You know, you talk about forsaking others. That was my wilderness time.
Yeah.
I walked away from it all, essentially.
Yes,
It
you
didn't
did.
make sense to people.
That was the entry point.
That was definitely the entry point. It was definitely the entry point. And God had something in mind that I didn't see. You know, I thought I was walking into a immediate season of abundance.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
And
that.
God had you walk away from a place that was abundant. Let me just point this out, because I'm gonna give all this away.
Yeah.
So, this story is all based on John the Baptist. He was a voice crying in the wilderness, according to Isaiah 40. That's what he was. He was a voice crying in the wilderness,
Right.
and his job was to prepare the way for Jesus. Well, here's the thing that's amazing: his parents, Zachariah and Elizabeth, they were of the lineage of the Levitical priests. His father, Zachariah, was a priest. And so I hear the pitter-patter of feet.
Yeah, the
That
little
my
ones.
Son, my little son,
And the both
The little ones.
the pitter-patter of feet.
Pitter-patter.
So his parents, they're serving, his father's serving in the temple. The day that he gets the word from God or from the angel that his son is going to be John, and they haven't had a prophet for over 400 years. He gets a word while he's burning the incense in the morning for morning prayer. He gets that word from God that you're going to have a son. Your wife of an old age is going to finally bear a son. What better place would John have to become the great man that God would have him be than in Jerusalem?
Yeah.
My daddy's the pastor.
Right.
Right.
Right? My dad, he go to the upper room. Like my father, he knows God. He spoke to God. He's the guy. And not only is my father the guy, I'm of the tribe
Right.
of Levi. I have ministry in my blood.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you would think this is a place where you will like grow and launch. And
Yeah.
God says, no, this ain't the place.
No.
And the place that seems right ain't right for you.
Right.
It's a good place to start, but not the best place to continue.
Right.
And what you said made me think about that, because you had to then leave that place. And this is what John had to do, Luke 180. He had to leave this amazing place of plenty and go to a place that seemed like a place of lack and struggle to find what plenty really looks like.
Right.
You took that journey. That, I believe, that was the entry point into what
Absolutely.
I'm saying is the wilderness.
Absolutely. That is spot on. And, you know, we want to try to put time limits on like wilderness, and I like how you describe wilderness doesn't always mean struggle. It's just organic living.
Yeah.
And so your perspective has to change. And I believe that with me, once my perspective changed, then things start looking differently. Yeah. And it felt different. I didn't look at it as lack, but it was growth. You know, God used over the course of several years to work out things in me, man, that I told my wife, like, I have a proclivity to be self-centered. That's just that's my sinful nature. Just if I'm not like purposely connecting into Jesus, into the vine, where I'm allowing the Holy Spirit to produce the fruit that He wants to produce through me, man, if I don't do that, I'm all thinking about myself, right? But God had to take me through a lot to show me that this is who you default to. Yeah. And I think the wilderness helps to pinpoint stuff like that. So now I know I have a better sense of me, and now I can walk into and be the person that God wants me to be, the husband that He wants me to be, the father, the grandfather, you know, all of that. And but it took, that time was necessary. And I actually kind of like living in that space, in the wilderness.
Yeah.
Because it's needed for me. Like, I know how it is to be on that mountaintop, and it was so easy for me to forget who I was and allow things to come into my life that are just harmful, just not fruitful. And it's just a lot of things just slip through the cracks.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm appreciative of the journey that God has brought me through in order to bring me where we are today.
Do you realize that when you embrace living a sacrificial life, when you stop trying to save your life, but you lose it?
Yeah.
Right? When you make a decision like what John made, John not only moved to the wilderness to prepare for ministry, he succeeded in the wilderness in his ministry.
Yeah.
And what you would have thought he would have had to have chased down in a prominent place, God actually rewarded him in the place he was planted.
Yeah.
So here it is. We were both in a place that was a great place, but it wasn't a place that we were to continue. And when I had to, and listen, I'm Fred was like the person who was the reason that a lot of the opportunities on the professional, national, and international platform, they even got introduced to me.
Oh man.
So in my mind, I'm thinking, surely this is the best place.
Right.
And God was like, nope, time to go. So now I can't stay. But what I find is I was afraid, guys, I was afraid that, well, if I can't be with Fred, which is my favorite artist, you know, the guy who introduced a lot of what in the Black church we know as praise and worship, our experience and expression of that. You know, then where do I go from here?
Yeah.
Like how do I find significance? It was everything. I was like, I wanted to be attached to the favor on his life as opposed to allowing God to establish favor that belonged to me.
Oh, man.
I wanted the overflow of his gift rather than believing that what God had given me would create an overflow for other people. Yeah. And so for me, I'm encouraged to see how, listen, you can leave that place and watch what God does and to see what God has navigated me through. And I can still celebrate what other people are doing. Yeah. But now I can see that God has rewarded me in the place of wilderness for me, in my sacrificial living, in my lifestyle of intentionality, in this organic lifestyle that I'm not walking away from. I'm fully engaged and married to. But God has brought to the wilderness. Eventually, we see Jesus walks right into the wilderness. Where John has cultivated development, launched ministry, fully engaged in ministry, and then Jesus walks in.